Hey, disc golfers, welcome back to Caddy Chat, episode 11. We're excited to have you back. I'm your host, Jacob Arvidsson, joined as always by Josh Wood. Josh, we're excited for another episode here. What do we have? What do we have for the listeners today?
Today we're going to do a preview of the Shelley Sharpe tournament that's coming up this weekend. We're also going to talk about a tournament here in Michigan from last week. We've got some bold predictions to make for the 2023 season. I think we promised that last week, and we're going to bring it.
We're going to deliver.
We're going to be bold, very bold. We're going to wrap up Tourney Talk, talking about payouts and awards and such. And I think that's it.
That'll be about it.
Yeah.
So
should be a really quick show today.
We never say that, though, so we're definitely telling the truth there. All right, so first things first, we're going to preview the Shelley Sharpe tournament down in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, it's they got a pretty good star-studded field this year.
And for the past couple of years, it's really served as kind of the super unofficial kickoff for the season.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of, sort of. I mean, the unofficial start used to be, or the official start really used to be either the Las Vegas Challenge or the Memorial, depending on how you looked at it. Shelley Sharpe is down there in the same area as the Memorial. It's only like 25 minutes away from Fountain Hills, and they use the same course as part of it for the Memorial. So similar concept there. Plenty of coverage out there if you want to check out previous renditions, see the course. Yeah. The course doesn't blow you away. Vista del Camino doesn't blow you away by any means, but it's still a fun course to watch them attack.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of the unofficial kickoff. So yeah, you said a star-studded field for the most part. Mm-hmm. We won't go into everybody who's playing, but we're going to make some predictions here.
Oh yeah,
which we haven't gotten to do in several weeks.
I mean, just the guys that are 1,030 and above even. You've got Barella, Drew Gibson, Cal LaViska, Adam Hammis, and then Gossage will be there. Our hometown friend Marweed is going to be there. Paul Ulibarri, Luke Sampson, who really tore it up last year. So it should be an exciting couple of rounds of golf for them.
So there's a collection of them that kind of off season down in the greater Phoenix area. Yeah. So they're all there, and then you've got a couple other grinders who are starting their tour there, like Marweed this year doing the full thing, and he's coming down from Michigan early. He hasn't done that before in his career, so good for him. Obviously, we're going to be rooting for him, but we'll see if he fits into our predictions.
And
here.
I'm just happy for him that he's warm right now.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous personally, but
happy for
good for you, Andy. We're proud of you. FPO side. Much smaller field than MPO, but still plenty of talent there. You got Jen Allen from the Phoenix area, always a force down in the Southwest, and your good friend Josh, Maria Oliva. She's gonna be there, and I expect those two. So we won't even
that'll be the battle.
We won't even make predictions for FPO. Those two.
We don't know. We don't know these other ladies. Maybe somebody tears it up.
I'm not going to make a prediction for FPO. Those two will get first and second.
Okay. Well, you just made a prediction.
Okay. Fair enough. I made a prediction.
You won't make a bold prediction.
Jen and Maria are going to take first and second. Don't know what order, but they'll take first and second. Done. All right. MPO.
So MPO, though, who do you think's got this?
So I've put a little bit of thought into this one, and I know I kind of know where you're going to go with this. So I won't say anything, but I'll go top three. I'll go Adam Hammis wins it. He's won it before. I think he will win it again. I think Gossage rides the momentum of being promoted to the elite team. He's got something to prove, and on Discraft that is. And I think he takes second. And I'm going to go dark horse pick for third. I think Anthony Barella is a very popular choice, and I think you'll pick him in some facet. I'm not going to pick him. I'm not going to pick Drew Gibson.
Okay.
I'm going to pick Nick Newton.
Nick Newton.
He's 10.06 rated.
All right.
He's probably, like 11th or 12th on the list if you stacked him by rating?
Yeah, something like that. I think 15th.
He's a good player. He's from Tucson, Arizona, I believe, so not too far away. And he's a good dude. I've played with him before, and he's got talent. So we don't get to see him a whole lot on the road because he doesn't tour, but he's a baller, and I think he's going to pop off. So he's my dark horse. So
Okay.
Adam Hammes first, Mr. Gossage second, and Nick Newton third.
Okay. You might not be as far off as me. Or not as far off from me as you thought. There we go. That's a good sentence. I am going to go with Drew Gibson to win.
Okay.
I'm always rooting for him. I really like Drew. I've never met him personally, so I don't know if we'd really like each other, but I enjoy watching him play disc golf. That's what I meant to say.
I'm sure he appreciates you as a fan, so
I hope so.
You got that going for you.
I hope so. But I've got him to win it. I actually thought Hammes would get second place, and I actually was going to throw a dark horse in there too with Noah Meinsma.
So Anthony Barella made neither of our lists despite being the highest rated player there.
The highest rated player, and I'm going to guess with his new plastic, I think he's going to come out playing really well this year in general. But this event, he might have to settle for fourth.
Despite being the hometown Arizona boy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I agree with you. So
yeah.
No AB in the top 3 at the Shelley Sharpe. You heard it here first on Caddy Chat.
Maybe it's the new logo.
Yeah, you didn't know his logo.
That's right. That was my first guess.
No, you did not get it.
I'm taking
You did
points
not
for
get
that.
it. If you don't know what we're referencing, go back and watch last week's episode. Josh failed to guess Anthony Barella's logo in the logo game. All right. Moving on. Those are our predictions. We will recap that next week.
Yeah. We'll see how we did.
We'll see how we did. Moving on, we had a XC tier in Michigan. So we want to quickly touch base on that. Shout out the winners and those that played well.
Yeah, and for those who might not be familiar with such a thing, like every year, it's a big deal in the North to have an ice bowl. So you got a tournament, preferably in the snow, with some somewhat miserable conditions. And so this is the 14th annual Frigid Dough Ice Bowl in
Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
And usually these ice bowls are based around charity events.
Right around there.
So they're good money raisers and usually go to good causes. So
yes,
that's another aspect to them.
Yeah, we have a couple of those coming up local in the next month or two as well. But this one, taking place last weekend, it looked like it was a pretty good battle. And who won?
Luke Taylor tied his father.
I was going to say, who came in second?
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah, the Taylors tore it up.
That's great.
Luke's obviously a baller. We've talked about him plenty of times, but his dad's a really good player too and a really nice guy. So they took it to the rest of the field and took home some cash for the family. Yeah. First and second place, tie-in.
Matt Murdoch was only 2 strokes behind him.
He was there.
Put up a good fight, and then Levi Hicks a couple strokes back from that. So, yeah, way to go, Taylors.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
And then
I would like to win some events with my son.
Someday you will.
In the MPO division.
Someday you will, Josh. I believe in you.
Thanks.
Women's side, Lindsay Messner took it home. She was the only one to shoot not over par, so good for you, Lindsay. Yeah. That's a good win.
Yeah, well done.
Way to start the season strong.
Yeah.
And then the other one we wanted to shout out was AM2.
Oh, baby.
895 rated Anthony Geisbert. Hopefully we're saying your name right, Anthony.
That's right. Sounds good.
So he's AM3 rated. He shows up in AM2, and he wins.
Yeah.
On a good-sized field, too. 21 players. So
yeah. And there was a big backup in second place. There were 6 or 7 guys tied for second place. But yeah, man, way to go, Anthony. What a great win to have under your belt. And looking through his history, this year, I think he had 4 wins, and they were all in AM3 until this one. First tournament he played, I think, in AM2, and he won it.
Yeah, so good for you, Anthony. Proud of you. Hopefully that starts you off on the right foot for 2023.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the Michigan moment recap. Don't want to spend too much time on it because it wasn't a giant tournament, but we definitely want to shout out our fellow Michiganders for some strong performances. All right, the main highlight of today's show, Bold predictions for 2023.
Yeah.
We didn't have a whole lot of parameters on this one. You didn't know what I was picking. I didn't know what you were picking until about 5 minutes ago. And we could go anywhere with this. We could go national, international, local. We could do ourselves if we wanted. The only restriction was that it had to be for 2023, and it had to be what we defined as bold. Obviously,
bold.
That's kind of a loose description, but hopefully you think they're bold, and if they're not, leave us a comment and tell us why. We'd love to hear. All right, first bold prediction. Josh, what do you got?
My first bold prediction, I know we just got done kind of razzing AB a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So I'll give him some credit in my bold prediction. I think he wins his first tour event this year.
Okay. And by tour, you talking the Silver Series as well, or
Yes.
just Elite Series?
No, anything on tour.
Okay.
Yep. I think he's going to do it. I think he's been on the cusp so many times in the last 4 or 5 years at least. And I think this year's the year he's going to break through and he's going to get a win.
Do you think the Discraft Classic holds him back early on as he gets fine-tuned with it?
I think it could.
Okay.
I think it could. I'm not going to predict when he makes this win, because obviously you're right. The beginning of the tour is actually in his favor, being in his area of the country, being in his hometown.
And being more open bomber courses.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it might take a few months to get the new plastic under control, get it figured out for his arm. So I don't know when. I don't know where. But sometime this year, AB is going to win a tour event.
All right. We're going to hold you to it. I like the prediction. All right. Number one for me, the Innova FPO team. We talked about them a couple weeks ago. They are not going to finish outside the top 5 at Elite Series events in 2023.
Not one single event.
Not one single
Every
event.
event, they're going to have somebody, some lady in the top 5.
Every single Elite Series event on tour.
That seems bold. So who are some of the Innova sponsored FPO players? We did talk about this a couple of weeks ago, like you said, when we were talking about the mass exodus from Innova. But just for our listeners, maybe you could refresh our memory. Who are some of these top players?
Well, the two that really swung the pendulum for me are the 2 European women, Henna and Evelina. They kind of finished. They came in with a lot of hype in 2022. Didn't really live up to it. The end of the season, though, I saw plenty of good things and signs that it's trending in the right direction for the 2 of them again.
Okay.
So that kind of swung the pendulum to make me think, yeah, this is still bold, but it's possible. And I can get behind it. And then the other one that no one ever really talks about, Haley King.
Yeah.
She's there too. And since she left Discraft, she's kind of just disappeared, kind of.
A little bit.
But she's still really, really good.
Yeah, she is.
And I think she, again, tilts it in their favor. And there's plenty. We talked about this mass exodus from Innova a couple weeks ago, and then we kind of backtracked the next week. We're like, well, the FPO field is actually pretty strong.
It is.
And
Haley is one of those, not part of today's predictions. Long-term prediction, I think she's going to be one of the greatest FPO players to ever play the sport.
Okay. Interesting. I think that's fair. She's got the talent to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Innova's FPO team is not going to place outside the top 5.
Okay. Very good. So my next bold prediction is that Silas Schultz earns a podium finish on tour.
Okay.
Somewhere. So similar to AB. I said AB is going to get a win. I think it would be a pretty bold prediction to say Silas is going to get on the podium. But I think he can do it.
Tell us about Silas a little bit, because obviously Anthony Burrell, everybody knows Anthony Burrell's name. Not everybody knows Silas Schultz.
Sure. Silas is one of 3 brothers down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He has an older brother named Thunder and a younger brother named Simeon. And if I'm wrong about the order of their birth or their names, I apologize. But there is some covers that I watch. I think it might be Ace Run Productions.
Possible.
Are they down south there?
Can't remember exactly where they're at, but they might be.
But I've seen them on coverage a lot in the last few years. Silas is one that I've seen consistently getting better over those couple of years on coverage. always, sometimes you'll watch that coverage where like there's two guys that are just 10, 15 strokes ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, it's just a massacre.
It's usually the Schultz brothers.
Okay.
And I want to say that I actually watched them play the Robinson brothers once.
Interesting.
Possible.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that as well. But Silas, really good social media presence, really tech savvy. I think he's even helping some other production companies with their social media right now. But he's a great player, solid player, very consistent, very smart golf. And I've been thinking for the last couple of years he's gonna break out one of these years, and I think it's gonna be this year.
And was he the one that several years back beat Kyle Klein at the NADGT? I think it might have been the next. So. I think it might have been the next Gen Tour at that point.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right about that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
Not related to Barry Schultz.
Interesting.
But three Schultz brothers that can really huck a disc.
Awesome. Cool. I think that's a cool prediction. All right, number 2. For me, Simon Lizotte just signed with MVP. Everybody knows that. For a lot of money, for a lot of years. And my bold prediction, number 2, is that Simon Lizotte will not finish on the podium at any DGPT event this year. I'm talking Elite Series. If he chooses to play a Silver Series, he might win. He might finish on the podium. I'm saying Simon Lizotte does not finish on the podium. Not one single time at an Elite Series event this year.
Okay, that is bold, I think. Especially because, again, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, he's having injuries. He was not playing super great. This year he started to get it back. He comes back and gets some huge wins. And now this year, off-season, changes plastic, and you think, no podiums.
Yeah, so here's what I think. I think he overachieved a little bit last year.
Really?
I do. He earned the wins that he got, absolutely, but I think he overachieved slightly. With that said, the new plastic plays into it for me. I think he's going to not struggle early, but it's going to, just like we talked about with AB a little bit, it's going to take a little bit to click. You watch his introduction in the bag videos on YouTube right after he signs with MVP officially, and he doesn't even know what most of this stuff does.
Yeah, but didn't you see when he got out of his car and he threw that disc like 200 feet and it went right in the basket?
Yeah, how many times?
How many times did he just got out of his car? You can see he just got out of his car.
Okay, he's a great player and he can still throw the disc. I'm not saying that.
I just think it's going to take a bit.
I think it's going to take a bit for him to get to the level that he needs to. Okay. I also think the big thing with MVP in their lineup at this point, they don't have the quote-unquote destroyer clone like a lot of other companies have. And Simon's best skill is throwing the disc far.
Yep.
That's what he's known for. Simon Lizotte can throw the disc insanely far. And in order to throw the disc insanely far with accuracy, you need a high speed driver. And I don't think they've got that in their lineup right now. No doubt in my mind that they're creating one for him. That would blow my mind if they weren't.
Overtime.
Yes. So that will come very soon, I'm sure. But again, once it does come, it's going to take him time to work that in.
All right.
So yeah, that's my bold prediction. I think as we get to the end of the season, the last 3, 4, 5 events, he's going to be in line to win one of them. And hopefully for my bold prediction to work, unfortunately, Simon, you're going to have to slip to 4th place in those.
That's great.
But yeah, that's my prediction.
I love that prediction even more because my next prediction is that Simon wins Worlds, giving MVP 2 players to win Worlds in the first year of throwing their plastic.
That would be something.
It's going to be something.
That would be something. Unfortunately, Simon is not finishing.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, Simon's not going to finish on the podium this season. So
he's going to ascend so far above the podium that it's not going to count.
Okay.
I guess. No, but you're right. We've got some predictions.
Some conflict. Yeah, we got some conflict here. This is good.
Yeah.
This is good. I won't argue that point because I just spent 5 minutes talking about my own prediction, which is completely counterintuitive to yours.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I just got a feeling.
All right. I like feelings. Feelings are good. All right. Number 3 for me, Brody Smith is going to finish the season in the top 5, or not the top 5, the top 10 in tour points.
Okay.
So the Pro Tour, Smith's going to have a good year.
Excuse me. Although it is bold, I'm not super surprised by it and won't be if it happens. Why do you think, though? Why do you think that this is the year for top 10?
So the last 2 years, as he's kind of broken into the sport, he has gotten better significantly every year. Even just form-wise, if you watch him on coverage or you watch his YouTube channel, his form has gotten better, specifically his forehand, which he did not have early on. He threw this swinging, arcing shot that kind of air bounce.
Janky
and his backhand, he still gets ripped on social media plenty for his form, but the dude can still throw at 550, 600 feet.
Yeah, poorly.
So, yeah, that blows my mind in itself. But, yeah, if he corrects his form there and fine-tunes it, he's going to be throwing 800 feet. But that's not why I'm picking him here. Yeah. I think he's a good enough player at this point to have a couple results fall his way. And I think he's gotten better since we'd last seen him.
Yeah.
So I think if he grinds on tour, which I think he will, he'll be at almost every event that he needs to be to score points. And I think that's what separates him from a couple other people that will be in that 5 to 20 range. Maybe 8 to 20 range is a better way to put it. And I think he can slip into the last spot. I'm not saying he's going to get a bye or a double bye at the Tour Championship and finish in the top 8, but I think he can definitely finish in the top 10.
Okay. I could see it. And I'll admit, when Brody first came on the scene, I was not a fan.
Not a fan of him personally, or skeptical of his disc golf abilities?
Yes.
Okay.
All of the above. But watching him the last couple of years put in the work and prove himself, I've become a fan.
You're a fan?
Of him and of his disc golf abilities. The man puts in the work.
Absolutely.
More than most people that I know. And is continually critiquing himself and getting better and working on his weaknesses.
He's also slimmed down a little bit in the offseason. So I don't know if that will translate to any more success on the disc golf course.
Hanging out with Ezra a bit much?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that has some effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at him on recent video, he's slimmed down slightly. So maybe that'll translate, maybe it won't. But
one of my favorite shots from last year was his accidental roller. Do you remember that one? We'll talk about it later. Good. I like that one. I like the Brody Smith top 10.
What's up next for you, Josh? Number 4.
Up next for me is that Kelvin wins a major plus at least one more event on tour.
Okay, so he's going to win twice, one
of them being a major.
Okay. Now,
which...
There's 4 majors, Josh, and you already gave one of them Worlds to Simon Lizotte.
So we got 3 left.
Okay,
what 3 do we got left?
We got the Champions Cup, we got USDGC. And we've got
the European Open.
European Open, yes, of course,
which
European
Open.
Open.
Doesn't normally go to.
He hasn't traveled to that, so that leaves us with 2.
Well, maybe he'll go this year.
Maybe.
But otherwise, yeah, 2. The 50% of the majors, he's got to win one of them.
Now, I'll give you the fact that he has performed well at USDGC recently. So he absolutely has a shot to win that event.
Yeah.
But it's still, from the players that I've talked to on tour, the hardest event to win on tour. So
I believe it.
That comes into it too. He does have the ability to do it. And then Champions Cup at the International Disc Golf Complex
in Georgia.
Yes, he took down Adam Hammis in the tour finale, national tour finale several years back, so he's won there.
See? It's possible.
It is possible. It's bold.
Yeah.
It's possible. I have no doubt that he will get a win on tour this year.
That's not very bold.
That's not that bold, but the major part is bold. So I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens. Go Calvin Heimberg.
Go Calvin.
All right, number 4 for me. Macbeth, who is playing, I believe, 8, maybe 9 events on the European Tour this year. taking like a month and a half, 2-month trip over there maybe. Playing several events, and my bold prediction is that he is going to win both the Euro Tour and the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Wowzer. How many events would he have to play over there to have a chance at that?
I think the number that he's playing. So he's going to have to win, maybe slip up only once in those 7, 8, 9 events that he's playing.
Okay.
But if
Beast mode.
I call him the best player in the world, and
I think that's fair.
I think the next several best players in the world will all be in the United States while he's over there. So that makes it a little bit easier. The only ones where there would be overlap are the European Open and the I think it's the PCS Sula Open is a Pro Tour event. So there will be several Americans there, I would think. So that field will be stronger. So those are the two that he absolutely has to win.
Yep.
Because they count for both.
Yep. The rest you think he can do in his sleep?
Not in his sleep. He's going to have to play well, but I think he can do it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my bold prediction. He's going to do the unthinkable. He's going to win 2 tours in the same season.
Okay. All right.
Maybe I'm crazy.
I think so. But I think that makes it funner.
It's bold. All right.
Much funner.
Josh, number 5.
Speaking of fun predictions, and this one I'm super biased about, and I'm not unapologetically so. I think that Reed Frescura is going to win an event on tour.
And again, tour meaning Silver Series included?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any insight onto what maybe 1, 2, 3 events that might happen at where he has the best shot?
I don't. I think Viglo he's got a good shot at. I think that's a great course for his gameplay. And I think he could play well there. He's won it.
He's won it before. It was not on tour at the time, but he has won it.
It was not considered a tour event at that time. But I know he can play well there. And honestly, I don't know all the events he's playing yet this year to make any more specific predictions.
I mean, he's played well at Ledgestone in the past.
He has. In fact, that clip just got shared by Joe Mez again yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah. He played there multiple years in a row. He played well there.
Yep.
So he's got that in the tank.
No, I think that's a good one as well.
That would be a massive win.
And maybe Jonesboro.
Okay.
I think that would be a good shot.
All right. I like it. Nice and bold.
Thank you.
He'll be throwing the honey.
Reed, please play those 3 events.
All right. My final bold prediction. Europe is going to win more FPO Elite Series events than the United States. So the European women are going to win more events on the DGPT than the American women.
Okay. So you're either saying that Kristen Tatar is going to keep doing what she's doing and even step it up a little bit, or that Evelina's going to learn how to putt?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying both of those things.
Both of them.
Yeah. So those of you that are listening at home saying, well, he's basically just saying Kristen's going to win 2 more events or something like that, and that tips the scale in Europe's favor. But
it felt like that this year.
It did feel like that, and that's because she finished so strong. But she won a Silver Series in there too, so she only won 5 of the 17 events.
Okay.
So in order to tip that in her favor, she's got to win 3 or 4 more of those.
4 more, yeah, technically. So she's got to double up.
So and
those other ladies need to step up.
That's a lot to ask for her to be on her game and in the United States, because she's going to spend part of the season in Europe around the European Championship.
True.
I think she'll probably spend the same amount of time as Paul will, honestly, if I had to guess, so that she can. Yeah, I mean, she's from there. She's got to go home at some point. So there's going to be a lot of pressure for my prediction on Evelina and Henna to come through and win probably between the 2 of them, probably 2 events, maybe 3. Yeah. And then Kristen's going to have to pop off and win 1 or 2 more in order to get that 4.
And they each win 2.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think it'll be close. If I miss on this prediction, I think it'll be like maybe a 7 or an 8. that they win, and then the U.S. wins 9 or 10. I think it'll be very close, but yeah.
I hope so.
Evelina and Henna are going to have to tip this in my favor for this to win.
And I hope they do. They're both fun to watch. I love both of those two players. And I didn't mean anything mean-spirited by learning to putt. But Evelina is such a great player. She could do such amazing things if she could make a 20-foot putt.
But if you want to dumb down my prediction, it's going to be Kristen stays hot and Evelina's putts go in.
Yeah.
And then, yes, absolutely, this is possible.
Absolutely.
All right.
I hope it worked. I hope so. I want to see her. I want to see her banging some 40-foot putts this year.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And she will win a lot of events if she can do that.
She will.
All right. That wraps up 2023 bold predictions. We'd love to know your bold predictions at home. Throw something in the comments. Let us know what a bold prediction that you have that we didn't come up with. And also, go ahead and give us some heat if you think our bold predictions are either not bold at all
Mark your calendars.
Or too bold. But also jot these down because when they happen, we're going to be looking for at least a little bit of credit, I think.
I agree.
And when they inevitably don't happen, we'll check them. We'll check them off and cross them off, and maybe delete the episode. They never happened.
The internet.
Yeah, it never happened. All right. Next segment.
Oh, this is a fun one.
Rule of the month.
Yeah.
What's our rule of the month, Josh?
It's complicated. The rule of the month that we want to talk about is jump putting.
We're going to talk about jump putting.
But there is no jump putting rule. So I guess we're going to talk about stance. And we're going to talk about lie. And we're going to talk about putting.
So in the PDGA rule book, there's 3 specific rules that we're going to address in relation to jump putts. We're talking about 3 rules today, but it all applies to the idea of jump putting, which at the end of the day, we will cover why a quote unquote jump putt is illegal.
Yes.
We'll tell you why.
Yeah. So just to zoom way out, the general concept of what we're talking about is that if you're within 10 meters of the basket, you cannot fall forward after you release the disc until you show that you can maintain control. You have control.
Rule 806.01, the putting area.
Yes.
Yep.
However, anywhere outside of that, after you're done with your throw, you can land anywhere. Mm-hmm. You can somersault down a hill. It doesn't matter.
You can jump sideways. You can go backwards. Sideways.
You can do whatever you want.
You can dig a hole.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we know this on the drive, right? People get huge run-ups. They release the disc. Sometimes they keep going a couple of feet and, follow through.
Yeah, some people go flying off the tee pad.
Yeah, some people do. Some people do that. Yeah. And it's fine. It's totally legal. But once you're inside 10 meters, you can no longer fall forward until after you've shown that you have control, that you've maintained control.
At which point it's not falling forward. It's taking a step forward because you have to go get your disc out of the basket.
Correct. But this is a good one for people to think about, too. If you make a good putt and you're, 25 feet and you take a step toward it before you show control,
good point.
That's a football.
Yep. Even if you're super excited that it went in, you still got to demonstrate control.
Hold up a second. Pick up your mini. Pick up your mini and then go running. And so that's the concept. So then outside of that 30 feet, 33 feet, whatever it is, people started purposefully using some forward momentum on a putt to try to get some more oomph out of it.
Because, again, you're outside the 10-meter circle. Yes. You can follow through on your shot.
You can fall forward. You can put all that energy into it. And, again, somersault your way to the pin if you want. It's totally fine if you're outside of 10 meters. So, however, when you start to take these 3 rules and put them together in regard to what most people call a jump putt, then a jump putt becomes illegal.
Correct.
So... And here, so do you want to just read through?
We'll just touch on the big points.
Some of these rules.
Yeah. So the next point, go ahead and talk about the I think the lie is the next thing we got to address.
Sure. So when we talk about the lie, first of all, when you're teeing off, the lie is the tee pad.
Yep.
You can be anywhere on that tee pad. After that, you have your 20 centimeter by 30 centimeter rectangle that is your lie. I say it's roughly the size of a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
College ruled paper. So just reading through the rule real quick, it says the lie is the place on the playing surface upon which the player takes a stance in order to throw. The playing surface is a surface, generally the ground, which is capable of supporting the player and from which a stance can reasonably be taken. Playing surface may exist above or below another playing surface. If it's unclear whether a surface is a playing surface, the decision is made by the director or by an official. The lie for the first throw is the tee pad. A drop zone is also a lie. So wherever they mark off a drop zone, that can be a lie. In all other cases, the lie is a rectangle that is 20 centimeters by 30 centimeters, centered on the line of play behind the rear edge of the marker. And the line of play is an imaginary line on the playing surface extending from the center of the target through and beyond the center of the marker disc. So
the biggest point of that in relation to what we're talking about is the final part. Yeah. The quote unquote paper sized place where you can put your foot.
Yes.
Behind the mini.
Which then brings us, I believe, to stance, right?
Yep.
And so what does that rule say? Sounds much shorter.
So now we've kind of established where you need to have a foot as part of your stance. The continuation of that is an entirely different rule in the rule book, Rule 802.07. Once you've established your lie with your marker, whether you leave your disc on the ground or you place a mini, and you have that kind of sheet of paper area behind it as your lie, you have to have one supporting point in contact with that lie. So one supporting point in contact with that piece of paper shaped area. That's requirement number one.
Yes.
Number two, you can't have any supporting point beyond your marker, closer to the basket. And the third point is you have to have all supporting points in bounds. Mm-hmm. So in this case, we're not really talking about OB situations, so it's not really going to come into play. So it's really about the first 2 points of the stance that we're talking about.
It's one of the reasons why they give you a meter from OB.
Yeah, so you can have a stance.
Have a full stance without stepping out of bounds.
Absolutely. So that's really what we're talking about here, the first 2 points of A in the stance rule. So have one supporting point in contact with the lie, that piece of paper shape.
Yes.
And that you can't have another supporting point closer to the basket until that disc is released.
That's it.
So we've established the rules, all three of them, that kind of come into play for a jump putt. Mm-hmm. So why is the term jump putt wrong, Josh?
Yeah.
First of all,
I don't know if this will show up on camera, but this is. Can you see my feet? My fingers?
They can see your fingers.
Okay. So if you're right here and you let go of the disc, that's okay.
Why?
Because when I released the disc, I still had one supporting point on my lie.
Your back foot was still on your lie, and your front foot was not touching the ground ahead of your marker.
Correct. Because you're right. This would also be illegal. Because this foot has to be on the lie, and this foot cannot be touching the ground.
Yep.
The problem is, too often, what happens in jump putting, and what people talk about jump putting is they jump forward, and then they release the disc. With both feet in the air, nothing's touching the lie anymore. And this is illegal because it says at least one supporting point has to be in contact with the lie when you release the disc.
And I think when the jump putt became, like the airborne jump putt started to become more popular and gain traction as like a actually way that you could propel the disc forward from a greater distance away, was people were using the philosophy of, I don't have a supporting point closer to the basket. So I'm airborne, I haven't touched down yet. As long as I release that disc before my foot comes down.
Yes.
then it's not a violation.
Yep.
But they're missing point number 1 under A,
You have to have one.
where you have to have something down.
Yep.
And that's where the jump putt's illegal. And we talked about there used to be a promotional picture for the Discraft Fierce with Paige throwing her signature putter, and she's completely airborne, and
Still holding
the
on to
disc
her
was
disc.
very much still in her hand.
Yes.
Which is, that's what we're talking about as
I think
a violation.
They scrubbed it from the internet because I can't find it.
But we went back, we kind of combed the archives a little bit, and we did find 2018, right?
Las Vegas
Challenge. Paige Pierce won, and
a lot of controversy.
The poster picture that they chose for that event, if you go and look it up, is Paige knocking in a putt from outside the circle, and both legs are
off the ground,
and that disc is still in her hand. So,
her arm is still bent. She's not even
it's not even
ready
extended
to throw yet. Yeah.
So
illegal.
The point is that's illegal. We don't have instant replay in the sport, so it is what it is. It all comes down to the card being willing to call it, and it doesn't seem to be something that people are calling at this point. However, there are players that do the step putt, which if they do take their foot off the ground, Dickerson, for example.
He's got a very aggressive step putt.
And his back foot does stay in contact with the ground. His issue is if somebody were to catch him and call him on it, it would probably be from point 2, which is that his front foot
is already down.
Is down before it comes out. It's not the case. He's actually got it very well timed, as do most players that do the step putt.
Yeah, but this is the problem with a self-regulated sport.
Yes.
Try to call him on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a hard one to call because it's happening in a split second.
Yeah. I
have no way to prove that you were fully off the ground when you threw if I'm the one calling you on it. So yeah, it's a tough one. But you see it all the time. So if you're learning how to jump putt, because a lot of people too say, well, if I'm not coming off the ground, I'm not generating any extra power.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think that might be the other way around. If you're coming off the ground, you're using all of the energy that you were trying to use.
Physics-wise, the energy's gone. You can't gain anymore.
Yep. Right. If you keep that foot on the ground, you're going to generate a lot more power.
Yeah, because it's your plant leg. That's what you're pushing off of and twisting and generating spin.
All that power is going to go into the disc
instead
of into you jumping 3 feet closer to the basket before you let go.
So I think the moral of this story is it's more about the integrity of the game. In a self-regulated sport, like you said, Josh, it's more about the integrity of the game. Like, obviously, if you're a step putter or someone who goes airborne after they release a disc, whether you're intentionally trying to or not, maybe go home and videotape yourself doing it to make sure you're doing it correctly.
Work on that timing.
We're not saying anyone's trying to intentionally cheat the game.
Yeah.
But if you are doing it accidentally and somebody mentions it to you even, it might be worth going and doing some self-reflection and just making sure that you are doing it within rules, because it is a self-regulated sport and you don't want to be cheating the game.
Yeah, or maybe you're finding out for the first time that you're not allowed to do that in midair.
Also true.
And now you just need to go back to the drawing board and find a better way to generate that power with a little step putt or I could still call it a jump putt. You have to putt before you jump. So we could call it a putt jump.
I like that. We'll remarket it. The putt jump.
The putt jump.
The Caddy Chat putt jump. I like it, Josh.
All right. There you go.
All right. Final episode with Tourney Talk involved.
Yes.
Kind of sad.
Final installment.
So it took us 11 episodes to get here, but we're here. We've gone through the whole event. Everything's been successful so far.
Excuse me.
Now we got to do some awards and some payouts and clean the place up.
Yes.
How are we doing that?
Yeah. A couple of things that I would say off the bat, and I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I try to have all those payouts divvied up, stacked up, separated, ready to go a few days in advance. That's not something you want to be throwing together during that final round.
It goes
or after the tournament.
It goes with 2 episodes ago what you're ago what you're doing the week before leading up to the tournament. And so stacking payouts is part of that.
So we finally get there. I like to set everything out on the tables, just spread it out, let everybody see all the prizes available. This is another point in time where I like to have some notes because it's probably a good idea. It is a good idea during the award ceremony to give another shout out to your sponsors. But that's a good thing to write down. That's an easy thing to forget. And then, of course, you got all your winners. So generally speaking, we start from the bottom and work our way up to the MPO first place. So if you've got multiple divisions, you might start with AM4, and you're going to do third place, then second place, then first place with all the applause and hand out the awards. That's the general flow of events. There are a lot more things that go into that, such as formulating the awards, specifically with payouts for MPO. But even with the discs, even with the plastic you're giving out for amateurs, how do you go about determining what percentage of what's going where and who you're going to pay out and how big?
It all goes into it's a lot of things we're touching on now should have been taken care of a while ago in the week leading up. But
the last few days.
The way I determine this splitting up the payouts is based on field size and how much they pay to get in. And PDGA says pay top 40%.
Yep.
That's just their kind of recommendation. I think 40% is a lot to be paying out personally. And I think my own standard is that the winners, and if you've played my tournaments, you know this, I think the winners, if you win an event especially in a decent sized field, you deserve to be paid accordingly. So I always give a little bit more to the winners. I usually only pay out a third of the field, because 40% is pretty dang close to half the field. And generally, if you finish in the middle of the table, you didn't play well enough to win anything, in my mind. That's my standpoint.
Sounds like you take this very personally.
Yeah. That's more of for me, that's more of just a player's idea. When I go to a tournament and I don't play well and I finish 40th out of 100, I don't feel like I deserve to get paid anything.
Yeah.
That's just my own standpoint. But yeah, everything's predetermined. I try and give somewhere between 25-ish% roughly to first place.
Okay.
25 to 30. And then kind of dink it down from there and slowly whittle it down to the last payout spot getting, usually I like to say, double their money back. Is where I put the last place. And then you can kind of do the math in between.
Yeah. Tweak some things
from there. But I think the biggest thing I'll say with payouts, the organization, like, it's huge to have some notes. That's huge. But when scores are trickling in at the end of the event, they never all come in at the same time.
Yeah.
There's usually, sometimes 20, 30, 40 minutes spread out between the last cards coming in. So you got to keep people occupied as best you can in that time. They expect it to take maybe 15, 20 minutes, but I've been at tournaments where it's taken an hour and a half for them to formulate scores, and it gets a little ridiculous, personally. So when I run events, I try never to have that situation. And it's all about, keeping them engaged. So you got your 15, 20 minutes that they kind of mentally already give you as a buffer. And then beyond that, I try and start introducing the CTP winners. So, the flags were all out in the course. Somebody won a closest to the pin challenge. And that's another good chance to shout out sponsors. Hey, this one was donated by Freshwood Disc Golf. Here's our winner. And you kind of slow that process down. People clap. Have a moment for them, take a picture if you want. It's all about kind of budgeting your time as your people finish the final assignments of scores. And then the other thing is I like to do an ace pool throw off if there was no ace. So that also plays into it. If somebody aces, that idea is down the toilet.
For sure.
But I like to put the ace pool throw off in there too. So it, an ace pool throw off with a field of even 40 people buying into it, that takes 10, 15 minutes to run as they each throw their shot and they all get excited about it. And
you get down to the last 5 and it's super awkward and takes forever.
Yeah. And there you go. You just bought yourself 25 extra minutes to get scores organized. So that would be a personal recommendation that I've had success with.
Okay.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's good. And I think there is these two philosophies of, do I pay fewer people more money? Or do I pay more people a little less money? Spread it out a little bit. And I think there's good things to be said on both sides of that. And it also depends on the division. Like maybe some of those juniors divisions, you're paying a little deeper because you're trying to encourage them to keep going. And maybe even the AM4 and AM3 guys, just to keep them going. But maybe
you want them to come back
a little bit, make them earn it.
Yeah,
Exactly. And difference too between tournaments and leagues. I mean, the winter league that we run, we try to spread payouts,
spread the wealth,
really deep. So you might not be getting as much for first place, but everybody's getting a little something, and everybody's having fun, and we're having a good time in the snow playing golf. But for a tournament, that's going to be a little different. Yeah, no, I like that. Roughly 33%.
Yeah, roughly.
And last guy getting double his money back. I've always gone for the last place getting their money back, but I like the double your money back. And first place getting 25% of the payouts. Yeah. No, that sounds good.
So after we've wrapped that up, you got to clean up.
Yes.
And you're usually not running a tournament on your own course. So you don't generally have the luxury of leaving anything for the next day, or, well, sometimes you do, but till the next week, I guess, is a better way to put that.
Yeah.
You got to clean up your stuff. And especially in public parks, if you're running a tournament, if you leave stuff overnight, it might be gone in the morning if you decide to leave it. So if you value your stuff, you got to take the time to pick it up. And that kind of, all this kind of quick bang stuff that you got to knock out, it comes with help. And you got to have a group of people around you. It doesn't have to be big, but a group of people around you that are willing to help just, pick up. Picking up flags from every hole or banners here and there.
The sponsor signs on T-pads.
If it's just one person.
Many hands make light work.
Just one person makes that a long process. And after you've already been sitting there all day and you're probably late in the afternoon, maybe early evening at this point, you don't want to be spending another 3 hours out there.
Nope.
You want to go home.
You don't want to be picking up stuff in the dark either.
Yeah.
If you can help it. Sometimes you do. Play a glow round. Pick it up as you go. And
then the other part of cleanup is, especially when you're using someone else's land or public space, you can't leave a mess. And
agreed. Leave it better than you found it.
Any kind of garbage, and that goes for anything, not just disc golf, but just to drive that point home further. I've seen plenty of, sporting events at public parks or public areas, and then you got 50 water bottles lying around, and just stuff like that doesn't make you welcome to come back.
Yeah.
They're not going to want you to have you back. So clean up after yourself, trash-wise, and take care of the place.
And then hopefully you're good to go, and you ran a good tournament. Well done.
And the rest should speak for itself.
Way to go, guys.
So we're going to try and put something together as far as, a document to help you out.
Yeah, take all those steps we talked about and kind of simplify it into a page or two of maybe even a checklist.
But hopefully if you're thinking of running an event, you can refer to these episodes and kind of pick and choose what part you want to take advice from. But we both have decent experience running events and going through this stuff on our own. We want to share that with you guys. So hopefully you've picked something up from it.
Hope you enjoyed it.
All right, so that wraps up episode 11 here on Caddy Chat. What do we got coming? What's our next series that'll replace Tourney Talk?
Yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of some open debate between Jack's our new guest. Jack Oliva coming next week. No, we want some audience-fueled debate topics for Jake and Josh. So,
and it doesn't need to necessarily be a debate topic. It could just be a discussion topic.
I don't know who wrote debate.
Yeah, who did that?
Sounds so aggressive.
Probably me. But yeah, we want you guys to fuel our discussion. So please shoot us a message on Instagram, Facebook, comment below here on the video. Give us a discussion topic, disc golf related, and throw in your own opinion on the topic if you want. And if we choose your topic to discuss, we'll definitely give you a shout out. And then we'll talk about it for a little bit, and hopefully we can shed light onto whatever it is that you brought up, and maybe give altering perspectives and give our own perspectives. And if you share your own perspective on the topic, we'll include that as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's what we're looking for. So engagement from you guys will be key here, just for suggestions on what we should talk about. And then, next week when we get this new series rolling, we'd love to hear your feedback on the topic at hand as well. Once we share what next week's topic will be. But we don't know what it'll be because we're just introducing this idea now. So please,
we'll just have to see it play out.
Yeah, please send us some stuff.
Yeah.
And give us some stuff to work with so that we can give you guys some content.
Yeah.
Anything to add on that?
No.
All right. Please like, share, subscribe. We keep slowly growing our subscriber base, and we want to continue that so we can reach more people and they can enjoy it just like you guys are.
Yeah. Bring your friends.
So thanks for watching. We will see you next week.
Yeah. And until then, keep your head in the game.